Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we're diving deep, thousands of meters below the surface, into a world of crushing pressure and eternal darkness. This is the Abyss, a realm that seems hostile to life, yet paradoxically, it's home to some of the largest creatures on Earth. We're talking about Abyssal and Hadal Gigantism. Why do some animals in the deep sea grow to monstrous proportions, far larger than their relatives in shallow waters? Is it a single cause or a cocktail of extreme conditions? Let's unravel the mystery of the deep sea giants. One of the first clues lies in the cold. The deep sea is frigid, with temperatures often hovering just above freezing, between 0 and 3 degrees Celsius. This extreme cold forces a slower pace of life. Think of it like putting biology in slow motion. This is linked to a principle called Bergmann's rule, which observes that within a group of related species, those in colder climates tend to be larger. For the ectothermic, or cold-blooded, creatures of the deep, the cold slows their metabolism way down. A slow metabolism has two major consequences that favor gigantism. First, it leads to a longer lifespan. With their biological clocks ticking more slowly, these creatures simply have more time to grow. Many marine invertebrates exhibit what's called indeterminate growth, meaning they never stop growing. A longer life, therefore, directly translates to a larger potential size. Second, on a microscopic level, lower temperatures can lead to an increase in the size of individual cells, which contributes to a larger overall body. We see this powerfully in the polar regions, where the cold water is consistent from top to bottom. Here you find some of the most spectacular examples of gigantism, like giant sea spiders that can have a leg span of nearly a meter, thriving in water that is both incredibly cold and deep. But a long life requires energy, and food in the deep sea is incredibly scarce. With no sunlight penetrating the abyss, there's no photosynthesis, the process that forms the base of most food webs on Earth. Instead, the entire deep sea ecosystem is heavily reliant on a meager but constant drizzle of organic material from the productive waters above, a phenomenon known as marine snow. Occasionally, a massive food fall, like the carcass of a whale, provides a temporary all-you-can-eat buffet for scavengers. This feast or famine existence is another powerful evolutionary pressure that favors a larger body size. A bigger body offers several key advantages. Larger animals can travel greater distances, increasing their chances of finding one of those rare food bonanzas or a reproductive partner. And for predators, being bigger means you can take down larger prey, making you a more versatile hunter. Most importantly, a larger body provides a much bigger storage tank for energy. The perfect example of this is the giant Isopod, a creature that looks like a colossal underwater woodlouse or roly-poly and can grow up to 50 centimeters long. When a giant isopod finds a food source, it gorges itself, sometimes eating so much that it becomes too bloated to move effectively. It then slowly digests this massive meal, using the energy reserves to survive for an astonishingly long time. In laboratory settings, giant isopods have been known to survive for up to 5 years without a single meal. This incredible fasting endurance is made possible by a combination of their large size and their slow, cold-driven metabolism. This relationship between size and energy use is described by a biological principle called Kleiber's law. In simple terms, Kleiber's law states that as an animal gets bigger, its metabolism becomes more efficient. It uses less energy per unit of body weight compared to a smaller animal. In the energy-starved world of the deep sea, this increased efficiency is a profound advantage, allowing larger animals to make the most of every calorie. Now let's talk about the two other immense environmental forces at play: pressure and oxygen. The hydrostatic pressure in the deep sea is bone-crushing. It increases by 1 atmosphere for every 10 meters of descent, reaching over 100 times the pressure at the surface in the deepest trenches. To survive this, animals have evolved incredible biochemical adaptations. Their cell membranes contain a higher proportion of unsaturated fatty acids, which keeps them fluid and functional under pressure. They also accumulate high concentrations of protective molecules called piezolites, with trimethylamine N-oxide, or TMAO, being a famous example. These molecules stabilize proteins, preventing them from being compressed and destroyed. While the direct link between high pressure and growing larger is still an area of active research, it is the fundamental reality that has shaped all life in the abyss. More clearly linked to gigantism, however, is oxygen. You might think the deep is low on oxygen, but that's not always true. While there is often an oxygen minimum zone at intermediate depths, where decomposition uses up oxygen, below that zone, oxygen levels start to increase again. This is because colder water can hold more dissolved gas, and there's less life to consume it. As a result, the very deep sea, especially in polar regions, can be surprisingly oxygen-rich. For animals, the availability of oxygen can be a major limiting factor for body size. You can only get as big as the oxygen you can absorb allows. A study on benthic amphipods, a type of crustacean, found a direct correlation between the maximum potential size of these creatures and the amount of dissolved oxygen in the water. So the oxygen-rich environment of the deep may have literally removed a physiological ceiling on growth, allowing some species to evolve to enormous sizes. Finally, there's the question of predators. While the deep sea has its formidable hunters, like the anglerfish with its bioluminescent lure, the overall density of large predators is thought to be lower than in the bustling, predator-filled waters of a coral reef. This reduced predation pressure means the evolutionary advantage of being small and inconspicuous is lessened. In fact, the tables turn. In the deep, growing to a massive size becomes an effective defense mechanism in itself. A giant isopod or a colossal squid is simply too large for most deep-sea predators to tackle. Speaking of which, let's meet some of these titans of the abyss. There's the giant isopod, the deep-sea scavenger we've already met. There's the Japanese spider crab, an arthropod holding the record for the largest leg span of any on Earth, reaching up to 3.7 meters from claw to claw. Deeper still, we find the largest invertebrate on the planet, the colossal squid. Inhabiting the frigid Southern Ocean, it's estimated to reach 14 meters long and possesses the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, each the size of a dinner plate, perfectly designed for spotting prey in the pitch-black depths. Its slightly smaller cousin, the giant squid, was the stuff of sea monster legends for centuries until we finally captured it on film. We also have the world's longest bony fish, the king of herrings, also known as the giant oarfish. It's a surreal silver, ribbon-like creature that can grow up to 11 meters long. These are the real-life giants of the deep, each a product of this extreme environment. So, to recap, why does the deep sea breed giants? There is no single, simple answer. It's a beautiful, complex web of interconnected factors. The profound cold of the abyss slows down life, leading to longer lifespans and providing more time to grow. The feast or famine food supply selects for larger, more metabolically efficient bodies that can store energy and travel farther for a meal. The abundance of oxygen in the cold, deep waters removes a key physiological constraint on growth, allowing some species to reach enormous proportions. And finally, the reduced predation pressure may have relaxed the evolutionary need to stay small, opening the door for the evolution of giants. All these forces, working together over millions of years, have sculpted the incredible titans of the abyss. But their future is uncertain. The deep sea, once thought to be unchanging, is now feeling the impacts of human activity. Climate change is warming the oceans and causing oxygen levels to decrease. The very conditions that are thought to have given rise to deep-sea gigantism are now under threat. These magnificent creatures are a product of millions of years of evolution in a unique environment. As that environment changes, they may not be able to adapt quickly enough to survive. The giants of the deep are a profound reminder of the incredible diversity and resilience of life, and their fate is a stark warning about the far-reaching consequences of a changing climate. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.